Hello fellow woodworkers and welcome to this week's edition of the Garage Workshop, and in this week's video we're going to be taking this, my Ferrex pillar drill, and replacing it with this, the Bosch PBD 40. Roll the intro. So I've been looking to upgrade my basic Aldi work zone stroke Ferrex pillar drill for a while now, as I find it really difficult to use and it's not really powerful enough for the type of holes that I want to drill. So I looked at a range of different drills as possible replacements, including the Axminster AW 315 PD bench pillar drill, and of course the Lumberjack DP16, which is a 16mm bench drill. After a lot of research, I plumbed for the Bosch PBD 40 as it ticked a lot of the boxes in terms of what I wanted, and it was at what I felt was a reasonable price. There are many videos on YouTube about this drill, and in this video I'm going to give you a rundown of my likes and my dislikes, and also how I created the fence to increase the options of using with this drill. It pretty much comes pre-assembled with very little in the box. For those of you who don't know about this drill, it's a 220 volt, 710 watt corded electric drill. It has 650 Newton meters of torque and a speed of 2,500 RPM. It has two speeds and the drill has a 13mm chuck capacity. It also has a digital display, integrated laser and LED, and comes with a fence and quick release clamps. It weighs in at 11.2 kilograms and has a stunningly massive 10-meter power cord. Now, the price of this drill does depend. I saw it range from the lowest price of £245 brand new on eBay, all the way up to £298 on Screwfix. Both of these are well below Bosch's recommended retail price for this drill of £329.99. I paid £254 on Amazon for it, but that did include a limited edition 25% off voucher. Okay, so here's the drill out of the box. As I said, there are loads of reviews of this on YouTube. I'm not going to go mad on it, but I am just going to point out a few things about it which I like, and obviously a few things that I think could be improved. The first thing is the buttons at the front and at the side are really good. The stop button in position in particular is easy to hit, really nice sort of quality. On the left hand side you have the speed buttons. Obviously the drill has got two drilling speeds. Speed 2, which is the fastest I would use if I was having smaller drill bits in and sort of drilling smaller pieces. If I was using a hole saw or a Forstner bit, then obviously I would use probably use drill speed 1. The aluminium base at the bottom, I know a lot of people have commented on it, and I certainly agree with what Peter Millard said in his video, which I'll put a link in this one, about the slots being too close together. I do agree with that, because it cuts down your clamping options, because as the drill moves up and down, if you've got a clamp in there, it's going to interfere with it, and there would be no difference with these two sort of channels which hold the fence being a little bit wider. The second thing is about the fence itself. Really rudimentary fence, I get it. I would personally have liked to have seen the fence to be a little bit bigger, because it only spans, well, on each side you've got at least probably 3 or 4 centimeters either side of it. But of course the biggest problem with the fence is if you've got the fence locked in place, you can't then use the wood holder with it because it clashes with the top of the fence. So if you've got a piece of wood in there and you're trying to hold it in place from the top and from the side via the fence, the two things are going to clash. That also brings me to my second bugbear about this system, which is actually this holder downer. you know, the clamp is essentially very basic. I personally don't like it. I don't think it's a greatly designed system, and it seems a bit out of sync with the rest of it. So that is something that I'm not too keen on. But apart from that, really good. One thing I do want to bring your attention to is the depth stop. I think this is a really good system. One tiny little issue with it, but essentially to move the starting position of the drill, you release the bottom handle here, and then you can use the arm up and down. So let's say I wanted to start my drilling here, for example. I can then lock it into place and we're all good to go after you take a while doing the handle up. So that's my sort of essentially my starting position. But if I want to then change the depth is changed quite simply. This handle at the top releases this bar, which that is literally how the depth stop works. It's a very clever system. So you adjust it where you want it to be. So let's just say we're going to go to there with the depth stop. Then I can put this and lock it in. But here you can see one of the issues, and that is these two plastic handles touching each other or clashing with each other. Now, if you do, if I adjusted this all the way, then it does still stop the drill clashing, but I think a better design on this actual handle would have put pay to that. This little bit of a clash at the back. I haven't seen it in a lot of YouTube videos. It might just be down to me, but that's the other thing. But the depth stop system is actually really effective for essentially what is a rod. And then when you undo it, obviously it drives back, and then you're back to the full extension in terms of going up and down. Really simple. The digital display at the front has got the buttons for the laser and the depth stop, because obviously when you are setting the depth, you can zero it at the top to get the depth, and then you've got the adjustment, the micro adjustment for the depth stop. So really, really basic, straightforward stuff. I'm not going to go into that a lot because, like I said, there's a lot of videos on YouTube. Now, my biggest issue is this. I am not a fan of this wheel. Why Bosch put it on now, I don't know, because if they were going to put a wheel on, in my opinion, it should have been a lot bigger. Handles would have been much better. And this is one of the upgrades that we're going to look at in this video, because for me this is just not really effective. And I know, and I've seen a lot of YouTube videos where people have actually taken these off and replaced it with a different handle system, but I'm not too keen on that. I think it's quite difficult to pull it down and excuse me, accurately drill with it. So not a big fan of that. So that's one of the things we're going to look at. So overall, very impressed with the drill, and obviously a lot different to my very entry-level Ferrex drill press. So let's just do a couple of drills on it, make a couple of holes on it, and see what we think. Oh, one important thing that I didn't mention is the groove that is on the tray is angled, it's V-shaped. So if you're putting in some dowel, it holds it in place while you drill into it, which I think is a really, really nice feature of the table. So obviously, if you want to put in anything on a slight angle, you can grip it in place, and you can use the clamp here to do that. So let's do a couple of tests with it, and then let's get on to the upgrades. Changing the drill bit on this is so super simple. You literally just slide that red sleeve to the left, and then you undo the end. You put the drill bit in that you want, tighten it up, and then when you're happy and it's nice and tight, you just slide the collar back to the right and it locks the drill bit in place. Can't be any easier than that, really. You can see from this piece of footage that the display is really accurate. It displays the depth and it also displays the speed that the drill is working at. So for this test, I set the drill to 15.1 millimeters. I just wanted to sort of pick a random one, and obviously I've got a Forstner bit in there, and it's just in a piece of 18mm OSB, but I just wanted to get a good understanding of how the depth stop works, and also to see how easily the drill would go through with the Forstner bit. You can see from the footage that I obviously took my time, but it went through it no problem, and at the exact depth I'd set it at. So having tested the drill and been really happy with the results, I decided to move on to seeing if I could do something about the table. The table is fine, but as other people have said when they reviewed this product, it's not really designed, I don't think, with woodworkers in mind. So I set myself the goal of seeing if I could create a table that would fit around the base of the Bosch and give me more options in terms of uses. So the first thing I did, I started off by making a little trial or a little mock-up to see if my idea was viable. So what I did here, I just wanted to sort of prove in my mind that this concept could sort of actually work. So I'm going to refer to this as a proof of concept, but I just literally got some bits of MDF. These are 18mm MDF offcuts that I got, and I put the hinges on two separate formations. One obviously with the hinges sort of going front to back, and the other with them sort of going side to side. And it was just more for me to see whether I could actually achieve what I wanted to achieve, which was a sort of 360 degree capability of movement, which it proved it was. Now, I didn't do the second stage. I might come back to that in the future, but I just stayed at the first stage, but at least this proved it worked. Hopefully, this view sort of explains a little bit more about what I was trying to say about that proof of concept and whether it worked. But when I did do this, one of the things I did realise was I was going to need a much smaller hinge to take what I'm going to refer to as the back and forward motion sort of towards the pillar of the drill, because that motion is going to be very limited just literally on the difference between the pole and where the drill bit is. It's going to be limited to that little amount of space. But as I said, I put this idea aside and then carried on with making the rest of the project. So the first thing I did was just get some strips of wood. I just used some, I think this is pine that I had lying around the workshop, and I cut it in the saw stop to get some really accurate sort of strips that are going to form the sort of walls of this. I cut them to the exact height from the base of the pillar drill, and they are really nicely cut pieces of wood. So the next stage was just to offer it all up and put the hinges on and sort of mark them up and see if they were big enough to cut across the base, which they were. This is the beginning of a problem that I didn't see, which I will see later on. I then took one of the strips of wood, the sort of one at the back by the pillar, because obviously what I hadn't accounted for is the ridge where the pole is on the back of the pillar drill. So I just ran it through the router table a few times and just got it to the right size so that it would fit over the base of the pillar drill. And as you can see, it now fitted perfectly. So the next stage was just to put the markups of where I was going to drill the holes, because obviously I wanted to pre-drill all of the holes because I didn't want to risk the wood splitting. So I just marked it all up. The one at the back that I cut the groove out of, I deliberately only put one screw in that, and that's in case I ever want to take it apart in the future. I then moved on to actually using the drill to make these holes, and this was the first time I'd sort of properly used it, not in a test situation, and I was really pleased. The holes were so neat, neater than I got with my Ferric sort of Aldi pillar drill, not even in the same postcode. And when I'd done that, it was simply a case of gluing, clamping and screwing these together. I left them overnight, and here I thought I'd made a mistake the next morning because I thought, how am I going to actually get them on the drill? Not thinking, of course, I could have just sat the drill in it. I actually did it the other way around. I fed the drill through it, but no problems, got there in the end. So the next thing I did literally was just measure out for where the drawer slides would go, and obviously these have internal bits that I took out to just make it a little bit easier. I was really just super accurate with the marking and with the drilling here, because as has happened many times to me before, I've ended up splitting the wood, but I didn't want to do that this time because I only had one set of wood that I could use. I then changed out the drill bit, jumped back on the pillar drill, and I used it to cut through these slides. It says on the description that they're made out of steel, but they look like aluminium to me. But when I'd done that, I just took my time and I fixed them onto the frame. I'd done super accurate measurements before, and I just left a few marks where I knew I had to line them up. It's a bit difficult with drawer slides like this because obviously they've got curved edges, but I just done some really sensible markings so that I knew that everything was in the right place. And what you're going to see in the minute is the realization of the intergalactic mistake that I'd made without noticing it. So I'm not going to do any commentary, just feel my pain. It is the Garage Workshop. It wouldn't be a Garage Workshop video without a mistake. So I literally just took that drawer slide off and repositioned it in the front, which actually in the end benefited me because it made it a bit more sturdy. I cannot believe how easy this looks when I watched the footage back. This was really tricky to do. So this is just me placing the wood and getting it absolutely square and then marking the holes on the wood underneath for the sort of slides of the drawer slide. It was really difficult to do, and I had a few goes at it before I managed to make sort of really accurate marks, and then it was simply just a case of fixing the drawer slides underneath and just making sure that they were straight and they were in line with the marks that I had made underneath, which again wasn't the easiest thing, but it was pretty straightforward. I just had to be super careful that I was accurate. So this was actually a pretty nerve-wracking moment. It was the first time that I'd aligned the rail guides together, and I was worried it wasn't going to fit, that I hadn't done it accurately, but as you can see, they were perfectly lined up and perfectly straight, and the top section moved without an issue at all. I was so relieved when it worked. So I just hopped onto the router table here and used it to cut the grooves that I was going to use to put the tracks in for the fence. I thought a lot about this, about whether I was actually just going to make a cut in the wood, like I know Peter Millard did that on his video, but for me, I just wanted to put in the track rails because I think it just gives me a little bit more flexibility, A, in terms of future-proofing it, and B, just so I can put different things in it if I want to. So I just took my time and did these grooves really carefully. A bit awkward, as you can see, because I couldn't use the fence that came with the Trend router table, so I sort of had to do my own thing, but I was just super careful, made sure all the measurements were accurate, and it worked a treat. So these were the two sort of final stages of the build. I marked the place on this aluminium fence for the M8 bolts to go through, which were going to be the part of my fence. I've got bolts where the head is shaped to fit in those tracks, so I just marked them really carefully, got it exactly in the middle to make them as accurate as they possibly can be, and then when that was done, I literally went back to the pillar drill again and I put in a HSS drill bit and I used it to drill out the aluminium. It went through this aluminium literally like a hot knife through butter. I was nowhere near the full capacity speed of the drill, but it was just really good, and I have to say I'm a massive fan of this drill, without a shadow of a doubt worth the money that I paid for it, but really impressive, and I'm looking forward very much to using it on future projects in the Garage Workshop. So fellow woodworkers, it's actually finished. If you've continued to this part of the video, I just want to say a massive thank you. I did think about splitting this video up, but to be honest, I wanted to keep it a sort of two-in-one. So what is my opinion of the finished table? I've given you a very clear opinion on what I think about the drill. And I did talk earlier in the drill about having some handles on the wheel, which I am going to do. I'm just waiting for some screws to arrive to put those on. But in terms of the actual fence and sort of tray, I am really pleased with how it's turned out. Now, I deliberately wanted it to be able to move side to side, which it does. The only thing I have to put on it is a sort of lock mechanism, and I've ordered a sort of very, very small bolt from Temu, which isn't here yet, which I'm going to fix to this side to just stop it from moving when you're drilling when you don't want it to. Having this ability to move back and forward, of course, has given me more flexibility with the drill. I can put a router bit in it and I can use it to do that. And I have got a plan, which I was going to do in this video, but I decided not to, of putting another top on it which moves back and forward. So I will have complete back and forward movement, much like the proof of concept that I did earlier in the video. The fence is at the moment temporary. It's actually upside down in terms of what I bought it for. It's actually a fence that you attach to a miter saw station. It's the old one from my old router table, but I've put it in place there. It's just attached with two M8 screws. As you can see, these are different colors. Sorry if it's that's going to worry you. I thought I had two pieces of this, but when it came to it, I had one bit that was long enough and one bit that was about that big sticking out of the bag. These are exactly the same. They do the same job. I have ordered another piece of that, so I will replace that when it comes in. But overall, I am really happy with the fluid motion of the tray. It's given me a much better surface to use the drill with. And of course, at any point, if I don't like any of this, all of this can be taken off. The whole unit can slip off by just undoing two screws at the back. I haven't glued these back connectors either. So they're the couple of things that, you know, need a little bit of changing, but overall, I'm really pleased with it. Just a little word about this drill. As you've seen in the video, I've used the drill to make this on a few occasions, and I think this is a brilliant piece of kit. I know I said it earlier on, and you'll have seen the sort of review bit at the beginning of this video, but this is going to really change how I do things in the garage workshop. It's super accurate, it's super powerful, and as you saw, it went through wood, it went through the aluminium, absolutely no problems at all, and I couldn't recommend this product enough. Really, really pleased with it. So if you have got this far, again, a massive thank you very much. If this is your first time at the Garage Workshop, please can I ask you to do all those fab things, like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell. You know it means a lot to me. It means a lot to the channel. If you're a regular viewer, don't forget to also like and comment. I know it's been a longer video, but hopefully you've stuck with it because you've sort of seen two things in one here. So also don't forget to like and comment. And if you are just watching this and you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. It literally is a click of the button for you, doesn't cost you anything, massively helps the channel and massively helps the algorithm so that we can get seen by more people. This build has been a bit of a labor of love, and again, thank you so much for watching it, and I'll catch you on next week's edition of the Garage Workshop. Take care, fellow woodworkers.